welcome back to the FM Realty Report. I'm Roman.
I'm Don.
And welcome back to today's episode. That's going to be a lot of updates on the residential, local, national development and changes, and some of the commercial and development as well, primarily locally.
Great.
So, Don, you want to kick off with the residential?
Yeah, as we want to do and as we have committed to doing so for our audience, we want to keep you updated first and foremost on what's going on locally in terms of the residential market. Right now, and these figures come from the Greater Syracuse Association of Realtors and the Central New York Information Service, which is our local MLS, buyer demand still remains very, very strong, and we do not have enough inventory. That said, we closed through the first 3 quarters of this year, 2025, 5,658 homes. That's a decrease, that's a decrease of 1.5% compared to the same period in 2024. There were 776 closed sales in September, which represented an increase of 1.2% compared to September 24. The median sales price, half selling above, half selling below, through the third quarter in 2025 was $249,900. That's an increase of 11.1% year over year. Very, very strong. The September median price, which is following a trend that's been going on for multiple months yet, continues to rise. The September median price was $267,500, which is an increase of 7% compared to September of 2024. The number of homes listed for sale was just shy of 1,800, which is a 38, almost a 40% increase year over year. And people say, wow, 40% increase in inventory, how can there be a shortage? Simply explained, that's a 40% increase over like 1,100 or 1,200, which in our marketplace is next to nothing.
It's nothing, yeah.
So yes, we, over the last several months, have had an increase in inventory, no question about it. Days on the market are a little bit longer than what they've been. But interestingly, these stats do not reflect what we have already anecdotally seen since the rates went down. And the rates went down. The Fed reduced the rate a couple of weeks ago. The expectation is that the rate's going to go down again this year and then again early next year. So many of us believe that from an inventory point of view, it's going to get to be just as tight as it was this time last year. Mm-hmm. So yes, we will have more homes coming on the market. We'll have a lot more apartments coming on the market, but there is no end in sight, immediate end in sight, for a solution to our shortage of housing.
Mm-hmm. And once the percentage rates go down in fives, you think shortage in inventory is now, we're going to see even more.
Our national economist, a gentleman by the name of Dr. Lawrence Yun, has been studying housing in the United States for 20 years. And he's put together all kinds of metrics. And if you take a 7% interest rate and lower it to 6%, that's going to increase the number of people who can afford a house at 6% versus 7% by some 550,000 people nationwide. Past history shows us that when that kind of thing happens, about 10% buy. Mm-hmm. So if you equate those figures here locally, that's going to be about just the fact of the rate dropping from 7% to 6% or 5.8%. That in and of itself, above and beyond Micron, above and beyond what might happen with suppliers, just in the normal flow, that's going to increase our buyers by about 1,700 purchases in the course of a year. So the demand is there, and the demand is very, very strong.
And I think that demand will really be centered in a specific price bracket before, and obviously smaller percentage will be on the higher prices homes. But I think most average buyers are looking for, it's going to be within the affordable rate of the home.
Right. And there's a $64,000 question. What does affordable mean? What is that number? And it's a tough one. We know right now to build a new single-family home, it's about $300 a foot. That's a lot. You're not going to find a single-family new construction home under $450 plus or minus, probably closer to $5. So what does that mean to get an affordable property? With our median price being $270 plus or minus, that's going to continue to further force all of us in our cities and our towns, our zoning administrators, our town boards, our planning entities throughout the city, the towns, and the county. We have to look at different housing types. And we have to look at smaller homes. And that's what's going to have to happen. And there's a lot of discussion, yet at the same time, I think as we mentioned in an earlier podcast, New York State Legislature has put into effect as of January this year a new energy code, the Electrification Act, where non-fossil fuel heating will be the only source for heating and air conditioning. Add to that the fact that if you wanted to build smaller townhomes, for instance, which has been talked about a lot, make it more affordable, they now have to be sprinkled, sprinkler system. So there's challenges.
It's like they don't want to make it easy.
No, and again, we're all talking with our legislators, we're all talking with our political leaders, and we all have to, in my opinion, step back and kind of look at things from the ground up and realize that how many people, for instance, in central New York can buy a $450,000 home?
Right.
Come on.
And that's, before we started this recording, you and I, we talked about entry-level homes.
Entry-level homes.
And you mentioned an NPR posted an article that said, for decades, construction of the smaller homes has been falling across the country. In the 1980s, they represented about 40% of market. 40% of like entry-level homes.
40% of our market in the 1980s were entry-level homes. And if you look at the housing boom that have happened over time, it starts with entry-level homes. And, after World War II, it was Levittown. And the examples just keep on going. The interesting statistic to me in that particular article, that by 2023, that 40% has dropped to 12% of the total market.
Yeah. What changed, do you think?
I think a lot of things change. Construction materials have gone crazy since the pandemic. They've dropped a little, but they're still historically very, very expensive. We were talking about a sheet of Luan costing $26, for God's sakes. I think zoning regulations have gotten stricter. I think energy requirements have gotten stricter. And all of that adds to the pressure. You talk about zoning regulation, construction costs, material costs, energy efficiency costs. It adds up. And now it's to the point where costs, in that same article, they were talking about a builder in Austin, Texas, where his costs in recent history has gone up 40%. 40% between construction, energy costs, zoning costs, regulatory costs. It's not sustainable.
Yeah, 40% since 2020. Because Canadian lumber and other construction materials are expected to take another 7 to 10% to building costs.
So if you look from 2020, you look at what we just mentioned, you look at, as the tariffs kick in on especially Canadian lumber, costs going up 50%.
Yeah.
That's not sustainable. So part of what we want to do in our podcast is to educate all of us as to what the facts are, what the reality is, and not blame this, blame that, but let's talk about going forward. And let's see what we can do to help the situation. Right before we started our podcast, Roman, you and I were talking about, what does the new buyer want? And I don't think we've really looked at that locally to the degree that we need to. What is that new single person? Would that single person buy a 400 square foot townhome? I don't know.
They probably rent.
You know, that single person is going to be paying $2,500 rent or more in any of these new apartments that are being built.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, as somebody who's been in the business a long time, I keep thinking to myself and knocking my head, $2,500 for rent, even at today's costs, can buy you a lot of house.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there are solutions out there. There's no silver bullet.
Mm-hmm.
There's hundreds of solutions, but we've got to start pushing it.
I think average monthly mortgage price is just over $2,500.
Yeah.
So, there's options for sure.
But mortgage rates, even if they drop down to 6 or 5, that's twice what they were 5 years ago.
It's an interesting stat that 1980s we had 40% of our homes were entry-level homes.
Right.
And now, since 2023, it's only 12%. When I was asking what changed, what caused that effect, not so much like the regulations and prices of material and things, but what changed as far as demand to go bigger homes? Like, I'm thinking, okay, if it's expensive, I'd rather want a smaller homes. And back then, let's think about lifestyles, right? We've had people would get married earlier. They'll think about families, grow families, and they were okay with these entry-level homes. Now we have a younger generation. They think twice before getting into marriage. They think about, well, can I afford a marriage? Can I afford a kid? Can I afford a dog or extra car? But yet these homes are being built for such ridiculous amount of money that it's hard to justify it.
I agree.
You don't have large families to have big homes.
I agree.
So why are we going?
I think part of what also happened, and I think you hit on it, is lifestyle changes. The McMansion became a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And if you go back 10 years, 15 years, costs were a lot less. And so you could build bigger homes. And for a long time, since I started in this profession 50 years ago, we've seen nothing but an increase in the average square foot of a house being built.
Mm-hmm.
It's just recently plateaued and begun to drop. So over the last 50 years, houses have been getting bigger. And I think what's truly happened, I don't think it's rocket science, I think we hit a wall.
Mm-hmm.
I think we know that, okay, sure, some people can afford whatever they want to afford. But the average home buyer, they're not buying the big house anymore.
Yeah.
The 3,000 square foot house, the 3,500 square foot house. They may want it, but that was another interesting aspect of this recent NPR article, is that when you and I grew up, well, me, I'm a little older than you were.
That's okay. You're young too.
But when I grew up, it wasn't looking for amenities in a property. It was get in a house, get in any house. In the beginning part of my career, I made a career of selling two-family houses to people who were owner-occupants. Mm-hmm. And at some point, as their family grew and they became more successful, they kept that as an investment to pay for their college kids' education, their kids' college education, and then they went out and bought another single-family house. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, I think it's going to start changing. I think it is changing, but a lot of younger folks just want to jump into the $250,000, $300,000 house, and they can't do it.
I think so, and we need to find ways to provide it. You and I have been working on this for a couple of years at least, researching, putting data together. And by the way, anyone's listening, wants to talk to us about it, reach out. Our contact information will be in the description. But I think that builders will start realizing that these houses are too big. And who are we selling it to?
Right.
And once they feel the stall, they're going to have to rethink this. And I hope it's not too late.
I hope it's not too late. And builders already are building smaller, just because to build the same 2,500 square foot house is $800,000.
But smaller has to be with the right price. You
Correct.
can. I looked at a small home that was new construction for $450,000. That's bunkers. I don't understand. The lot it would take to build a 3,000 square foot home can probably divide it, and you can fit two 1,200 square foot
That's a
homes.
great point, and that's something that we have to continually try to work to achieve with our towns and our cities, smaller lot sizes. There's several builders and developers right now. There's a couple lawsuits going on trying to force some of these towns and municipalities to zone correctly or zone additionally for smaller lots. That's part of it. It's not just the size of the lot, but it's how many more units you can put in the same piece of land if you're a developer, which brings down the costs. So that's a big part of it. Regulation and zoning is huge. Another part of it is when you build an entry-level house, you don't need stainless steel appliances. You don't need granite countertops. You don't need extravagant woodwork. You just, it's an entry-level home. It's designed to be an entry-level home. It's designed to start an individual off on the American dream. And, an example that people have been using for a million years is Levittown, built after World War II down on Long Island. I mean, I believe when they were first built, they were 650 square feet. And they sold thousands to GIs coming back because the demand was there. There was, Mr. Levitt was an extremely smart guy. He hit the market at the right time with the right product, and look what happened. And that's why I say, even though we have these challenges in front of us, I think there's a golden opportunity. And somebody's going to come up with not the magic bullet, but they're going to come up with one of the magic bullets that's going to make a difference.
Yeah, us are one of the people.
Yeah, for sure.
I just feel like we put a lot of time into it.
Yep.
It's not for nothing. So definitely want to continue pursuing. And there's, like you said, opportunities are there.
Yep.
So contact us if you have questions. I'm looking forward to some of the changes outside of the residential, both nationally, well, mostly locally. And we always mention Micron because you can.
You have to.
Yeah. What's the can't ignore an elephant in the room, right?
Right. It's big.
But there is something in residential I forgot to mention that's just something fun fact. In New York City, a $75 million listing is going up, and it's going to be a record.
It'll be the record purchase for a residential structure, $75 million.
Yeah, probably one of the apartments with penthouses or something like that.
Right.
But that's crazy. So on October 16th, there was green light for Micron to run a 2-mile long power line.
Yeah.
That will power the entire plant. And I'm sure that's probably, they need to calculate that, so in case they can't get enough from solar.
Correct.
Solar is probably going to...
Yeah, they are going to try to be as quote-unquote green as they possibly can, but they're still going to need a lot of power.
Yeah, and they mentioned recycling water,
right?
Getting green energy from solar. So it's good that they're trying to do that. One of the interesting articles I came across mentioned Hudson Valley Community College building a $64 million tech education center. I looked up a little more information. I was wondering if people would be interested. What is Hudson Valley Community College, where it came from, blah blah. But they are part of SUNY, State University of New York, and they are putting their place in Troy, New York. So this facility is building a $64 million applied technology education center aimed to expanding workforce training in advanced manufacturing, automotive technologies, and building systems and construction trends.
Wow.
Yeah, this new facility is scheduled to open in 2027 will play a big role in supporting the Micron project in central New York, helping train the skilled workers needed for semiconductor and tech-related jobs.
That's wonderful. Yeah. And, just remind everybody, the same thing is happening at the STEAM School
here
in downtown Syracuse, which is now open with the first class, the first freshman class. And there's a green room that is incorporated in that STEAM school. And just incidentally, OCC, Onondaga Community College, just announced the opening of the green room that was built at OCC. In fact, they're scheduling some tours, I think, for the public at some point in the future. But these are tremendous opportunities.
I just drove by it 2 days ago.
Yeah.
I like that they kept the old building facade in the front. I do have a question, though.
Sure.
So it's STEAM with a art program.
Correct.
On the windows there, it does not include A for art.
It will.
It will. Okay.
It will. And that is, not only is this STEAM school the state of the art in the whole country right now, it's one of the few that does include arts.
Art, yeah.
And part of the reason that it was pushed was not only the belief and the importance of the arts, but that theater in that building has been one of the top, if not the top, acoustically correct venues in the history of Central New York. And it's been vacant for many, many, many years. And as part of the STEAM school reconstruction, they brought that up to today's technological standards. It's an 1,100 seat venue. And it is, I've been in it, it is unbelievable. It is the state-of-the-art venue in Central New York. It's just incredible.
When are they going to have events there?
I'm not sure what the calendar on the events are, but I think they're going to start as soon as they can because it's there. Now, just the freshman class is there this year. Then next year will be the sophomore, then the junior, then the senior. So it may be a few years before the entire student body of 1,000 students is going to be there, and they'll be ramping up.
Yeah.
But it'll also be used for different community events.
It'll be nice to go and experience that.
Yep.
Atmosphere.
It's beautiful. It's just gorgeous.
Great. Don, you want to add anything else, or are we ready to wrap
No.
it up?
No, I think this is good. And as I said in the beginning, we're dedicated to trying to keep our audience up to date on local information as it relates to the real estate business. And hopefully together, all of us can put our heads together and solve some of the challenges in front of us. And as Roman said, we're both here. Our contact information is connected to the podcast, and we'd love to talk to anybody. We'd love to talk to home buyers, home sellers, home investors, industrial and commercial developers, or people who want to be part of a venture capital situation. Give us a shout.
Reach out. Thank you again to everybody who's listening and following. We really appreciate it. And we'll see you till next episode. Bye.